We are the Unitarians of Lake Norman, open and inclusive congregation. We walk diverse paths, find meaning and purpose, but we're united in our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, and in the responsibility that we share to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. So, my name is Karen Abrams. I've been an active member of this congregation for 2 years, but I've been a Unitarian for over 50 years. So, our musician today is
Every time Doug
Woody,
walks in, he turns them off.
and our speaker is Pat. And he will be discussing inferiority complexes, including a woman.
Right.
Or the flip side of that is, today I am enough. So, anyway, we will start our services by lighting our chalice. Please join me by saying today's chalice lighting words, which are in your order of service. We light this
Flaming chalice to illuminate the world we see. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be fair and loving. And in loving, may we find peace.
And our opening words, Pat?
May I hand you this?
No.
I want to say, Dorothy, we hope you do move here. And when you do, we hope you will bring your family with you. And Grace, when you come back, will you bring other young people with you? Today is a sad anniversary. Today is the 165th anniversary of the cadets at the Citadel firing on Fort Sumter, which started the American Civil War. Between 600,000 and 800,000 combatants were killed in that awful time in American history, and easily 3 to 5 times that many were maimed for life. 10% of the combat age men in the United States at that time died in that war. Our opening words come from Brene Brown. She said, "Shame is the most powerful master emotion. It's the fear that we're not good enough." And Emma Stone, who many of you know from her movies, said, "My great hope for us as young women is to start being kinder to ourselves so that we can be kinder to each other. To stop shaming ourselves and other people for things we don't know the full story on. Whether someone is too fat, too skinny, too short, too tall, too loud, too quiet, too anything. There's a sense that we're all too something and we're not all enough."
Sorry, adjustment of the lights. Thank you.
Want to do the centering music?
Beautiful. My mind is often blown by the research that I do to prepare these talks. It's unusual for something to hit me quite like reading in a biography of Lincoln that he was afraid he was not enough. For me, Lincoln is something of the definitive human being. I once took 3 of my children to Washington and we visited the Lincoln Memorial. The kids were young enough that they liked to run as often as they could. All 3 of them bounded up the steps of the memorial, and all 3 of them froze as they came to see the massive statue of Abraham Lincoln. That's the Abraham Lincoln of my consciousness. That's the Abraham Lincoln of my awareness. A massive statue enshrining for generations the hero of the Civil War. Yes, the war was terrible. And in the what-if game of so many armchair historians, maybe it could have been avoided. But the statue at the Lincoln Memorial puts him in the center of a historical moment that changed everything. And in the minds of so many Lincoln haters, that war is still being fought. And this guy was afraid he was not enough. This man among men, this force of nature, was afraid he was not enough. Growing up in abject poverty, losing his mother at an early age, in constant conflict with his father over manual labor versus his love of reading books, he lived through childhood trauma into a career that faced many failures. He was not tended by magical creatures who cleared a path for him into victory after victory. He only had 5 days to celebrate Lee's surrender before being killed by John Wilkes Booth in Ford's Theater. There is a lesson for this in all of us. Yeah, there is the lesson. The next time we are afraid we are not enough, we should remember that the great one, possibly the greatest American who ever lived, was sometimes afraid he was not enough. And from that memory, we can go on and do what needs doing. We follow the paths we see laid out for us with the spirit of Abraham Lincoln by our side. Even at times when he was afraid he was not enough, he went on and did what he felt needed doing. Is it possible for us? Yes, it is. Reading John Meacham's book on Lincoln has been a rare and delightful pleasure for someone like me. I've been nuts for history since my parents bought me comic books about history. The action, the costumes, the conflicts, and high hopes of those who saw the possibility of a better future, all of that thrilled me. And my brother would tell you it delayed my having to mow the grass. But the passion has never abated. Lincoln was a man who saw true equality promised in the Declaration of Independence. His Gettysburg Address is a challenge to us to side with that wave of history that affirms government must be by the people, of the people, and for the people. The phrase is old and often repeated, but as we work to figure out our best responses to the current evil government, it comes to life again. Some of you know I work with poor people. Rarely, that means I help load their trucks. Rarely. Rarely. One day I picked up 2 window air conditioners from a scrap pile and walked a few feet and loaded them onto the truck. After the second air conditioner, I told them they would have to load the rest of the truck. I won't load any more air conditioners. These are people who know little of politics, elections, or government. The government we have now is not by these people. Some of them can't vote because they're convicted felons. None of them pay attention to who's running or what their positions might be. The government is not of these people or by these people, but we have to continue to make it for these people. At least 2 members of our far-flung circles of care receive Social Security disability checks. That part of the government is for them. Sometimes their disabled bodies don't want to carry window air conditioners either, but they soldier on. I told you all that to tell you they are at the other end of a spectrum. Lincoln by ability to carry on despite being afraid he was not enough, is at the other end of that spectrum. His fear did not prevent him from winning the presidency, prosecuting a terrible war to save the Union, and eventually freeing the slaves. My friends' fear of not being enough do not prevent them from augmenting their meager incomes with recycling window air conditioners and aluminum cans, some of which are provided by Tim Brown, bringing them to these Sunday afternoon gatherings. On behalf of our aluminum recyclers, let me say thank you, Tim.
Air conditioners?
Don't bring an air conditioner. At one end of the spectrum is a little boy who fell in love with reading as he studied by his family's fireplace. Something in those books, and he loved the Bible and Shakespeare, something in those books and stories started a fire in him that made him the Abraham Lincoln whose statue sits in that memorial in Washington. At the other end of the spectrum are poor people all over the world who by their circumstances were not able to overcome their poverty on their own or Lincoln's childhood. But by golly, they can pick up those window air conditioners. And somewhere in the middle of that spectrum are the people in this room. And I want you to consider that the people in this room are like the most wonderful people on the face of the earth. I was going to tell you that you are the most wonderful people on the face of the earth, but you would have considered that hyperbole. So I'm just going to tell you, Linda Heidelberg, that you are like the most wonderful people on the face of the earth. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Let me repeat Emma Stone's words from our opening. My great hope for us as young women is to start being kinder to ourselves so that we can be kinder to each other, to stop shaming ourselves and other people for things we don't know the full story on. Whether someone is too fat, too skinny, too short, too tall, too loud, too quiet, too anything, there's a sense that we're all too something and we're not enough. A great hope for us all. We need to get over attacks on our self-esteem that date back to childhood trauma, unreasonable expectations, and the crushing pain of all those collapsed houses of cards. Personal freedom gets in the butterfly nets of parents, siblings, teachers, coaches, and scout leaders. I'm so sorry. Put-downs, insults, attacks born of jealousy. All of it counts against us with little clicks like the ticks of a clock. It's a wonder any of us get out of bed in the morning. But we do. And Pamela Engelbart is so glad we do. She is so glad we put on our shoes and get in our cars and come over here. It will be a long time before I forget the energy and joy of her grinning face and saying to all of us that we are the best thing in her life.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. And never doubt that our fear of not being enough is not going to be cured by anything external, including this sermon. As bad as I hate to admit it, including this sermon. The only cure for the fear of not being enough is to go on anyway. Hemingway said courage is not the absence of fear. He said courage is being afraid and going on anyway. Eleanor Roosevelt said, do something that scares you every day. And it takes practice. Practice, brother, practice is the famous answer given by the cab driver who was asked, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, brother, practice. Louis Jolly is one of the tiny few number of football players from my high school who ever went on to play in the pros. His coach was asked the difference between Louis and the other players. Without hesitation, the coach answered, Louis loved to practice. They all love the games, but Lewis loved to practice. William Faulkner wrote that fear is the basis of all things. And please let me add that the fear of not being enough has to be among our worst fears. But we do go on, don't we? Tracy Graham sent me an article just yesterday about adding the word yet anytime we tell ourselves we are not enough to accomplish something. Yet. We can add the word yet. It makes new stuff possible. We may not do the best work needed to send Donald Trump into retirement yet. We may not do the best work to care for people around us who need our help yet. The word yet truly speaks to work not yet done, dreams yet not fulfilled, songs not yet sung, and projects not yet completed. And it certainly changes the energy around the idea that we may not be enough yet. It has been said over and over again in motivational speeches and songs, you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Many of you will remember that Thomas Edison tried hundreds of elements in his light bulb before he found the one that would work. He later said that all the other tries were not failures. They were simply all the elements that didn't work. And then he found the one that did. Childhood is often a grim slog that leads us through all kinds of experiences that convince us we are not enough. But there have been so many golden moments when we were enough. And if we can do it once, we can do it again. So here we are, Karen, ready to talk. Back.
Anybody want to come up and share their thoughts on this? Is the fact that you sometimes do people have doubts about if they are enough sometimes? Or are you enough? So I know it's something I fight with all the time.
When I told Karen about the subject for this service today, she said, well, maybe it'll be encouragement for us.
And we'll speak into this.
That's one thing,
Yeah.
I probably come from a more Christian background than some of you at least. But when my mother was ill and I was talking to my brother about, things and my fears in life, and he said to me, that they counted in the New Testament and that Jesus actually spoke more about fear than about love.
Yes.
And I realized that is what keeps me back often, that I don't want to venture out, I don't want to fail. It's one of the biggest sources of procrastination because we don't want to do it wrong, so we don't do it at all. And, I want to preach a sermon sometime on what's worth doing is worth doing poorly.
Yes. Get her on the calendar, pal.
Get her on an auction item.
But that whole idea that by definition it's worth doing, no matter how well you do it. And I fight with myself about the idea of a judgment. I kind of feel like it may be us judging ourselves.
Yes.
Do we feel like we've been good enough to be able to live in grace and in freedom, from feeling poorly about ourselves? And so I really think that it may come to a time when can I accept myself? And the other thing may be looking at it, and if there is a reflection of anything that we might call sin or, distance, will it come from the things I've been afraid to do rather than the things I've done that were not acceptable or, and I think if there is a judge or if I am the judge, I'm going to see all the things I didn't do that I could have been brave enough to do.
2 sermons for the price of 1. And here comes another preacher.
This one kind of hit home. But first I should say, I think it's one of my favorite quotes. I believe it was G.K. Chesterton who said, it's better to do something bad than, more or less, it's better to do something badly than not at all.
Yeah.
Anything really worth doing, that's it. Anything really worth doing, it is better to do badly rather than not at all. This hit home because basically I spent yesterday paralyzed. I didn't do a thing. I did talk with my grandkids, but that's the extent of it. And it was just one of those days when I was feeling inadequate. I was feeling my age. I was feeling that there are all these things that I could and should have done in my life, and here I am 70 years old and I haven't done them, or haven't done them well enough, or haven't done enough of them, or didn't pursue lines of my life that were kind of calling me this direction and that, and instead just sort of muddled through. And the result of that was paralysis. And that's not good. And I think this was just what I needed to hear today.
You're welcome. Greg, before you talk, I want to clarify something. Grace, you heard Sue say that she may be a little more Christian than some people in the room. We have people in this room who are not Christian at all. We have Buddhists, we have agnostics, we have atheists, we have people who don't know what they are, and they're glad of it.
I just want to add, Thomas Edison has always been kind of a hero for me. And I look at it from the standpoint that he had so many tremendous failures. He tried so many different things, different kind of construction and businesses. He had so many failures. And I think about the idea about introducing the populace to the idea about stringing wires around and bringing electricity to your house. Everybody said, this dude is absolutely crazy.
Right.
But I stuck with it because I knew it was right. I love Thomas Edison.
We have some of the light bulbs burning here in the room.
Hi, I'm Paula. And one thing comes to mind is I've been listening and re-listening to Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And one of the things he talks about is smiling. And one of the things that really comes to mind is when you smile and you compliment people, you encourage yourself. You can't hand out a compliment. You can't say something nice to someone else and not feel good about yourself.
That's
It's
right.
like literally impossible. Just as it's impossible to smile and not feel really good. So if you want to feel better about yourself, encourage others. People who are going for it, whatever they're going for, or ask them what they're going for. Tell them, you can do this. This is possible for you. You've got it. I had a woman on a Zoom call. She was a marketing professional, and she takes the attitude of psychology behind her marketing. And I told her about a speech I'm going to do on texting, April 15th. And I usually tell a little bit about myself, and I tell some stories, and like, as my daughter would say, like all of y'all, you know, I've got stories, you've got stories, you have tragedies and triumphs, right? But what she said is the most important part of that is to really pull in or send out really emotion, connection, you know, being vulnerable, being authentic, the Brene Brown approach. And so when you do that and connect with others, and they're suffering, they're challenged, like we all are, everybody's got something going on. I mean, there's none of us that doesn't have something going on. When you encourage them, you encourage yourself.
Yay.
Smile, encourage others, be your best. Think about what the possibilities are that we've been tossing aside because the little voice in our head says no. Say yes.
Boom. I love it. My Angela was on a radio call-in show, and she was encouraging just what Paul talked about. She's encouraging, look people in the eye, smile, and say hello. Look people in the eye, smile, and say good morning. On this national call-in show, a man called in and said, I'm so glad you're talking about that, because just a few years ago, I was on my way to commit suicide. I was walking toward the bridge that I was going to jump off of. And this young woman looked at me, made eye contact, smiled, and said good morning. And I said to myself, well, if I'm good enough for that, I'm going to keep on living.
I just want to say I have an inferiority complex about being as brilliant as everybody else that comes up here and talks.
She's
I
smiling.
have a saying on my desk that I have to look at frequently, and it says, perfection is the enemy of the good.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
So at some point, you get up and go.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Pat, I think you struck a home run on that one.
But
But you didn't strike too good. Oh, no, come on, please. Now, this is really
Take as long
great.
as you want.
I think the time I had that feeling of not being good enough or tough enough or resilient enough was about 10 years ago when I lost my husband. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna tear up just talking about it. I can't believe it, 10 years, it's still there.
Sure.
So, you know, many of you are the same age as I am, and we all have our health issues. And I had a lot of good advice when I had that struggling period. And I think the best advice I got from friends who had been through similar things was, at first, don't worry about anything, just put one foot in front of the other.
Yes.
Until you make it.
Mhm.
And so that's the wisdom I'd like to share with you. It helped me a lot. Just
Awesome.
one
Thank you.
foot at a time. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Teresa? How beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. When you came in today, you may have noticed you had a handout on your chair for you to take home. It is April, and during the month of April, we are talking a little bit about putting your house in order, and possibly including the church in your will, if you want to. So when the board began talking about the need to have a grouping or something that would encourage people to think about, would I put this fellowship in my will? I said, I can help with that. I spent 25 years as a professional fundraiser. I helped a lot of people through their estates over that time. This will be easy. Well, then I sat down with Sue Friday and Chris Smith, who had offered the help, and you realize this is a bigger issue perhaps than I thought. And so we've been working hard at how can we share a message with people that they will know is meant only to be helpful and with no pressure. So I just want to put that out there to start. We're just making you aware of some things. So think of this as a public service announcement. Some relatively easy steps that we all need to take. And I can tell you about this because Andy and I have just done this, because as you work on a project and you realize, I haven't updated my will in a long time. And we've moved to a new state and we're going to have a grandbaby. I need to think about these things. So here are some steps I'd just like to share. All right, when you're on an airplane and you're getting ready to take off and the crew is going over your instructions and they start to talk about when if oxygen should be in trouble in the cabin, what do you do? The mask comes down, do you put it on your face first or do you put it on everybody else's?
Yours first.
You put it on your face first. First step, think about what you need. So do you have right now, if something happened to you today, you walked out of this building and you had a stroke and you couldn't speak, would somebody in your family or friend group know exactly what you want to happen with you health-wise? Would they be empowered to speak for you? That's what a health power of attorney does. And you have to answer questions when you're doing those with an attorney, like, do I want to have food if I can't recover? Do I want water? But it's nice that you get to make those decisions when you're not needing in that situation, and you then can share what you want to have happen with your family or your friends. Second thing, thinking about you again, you are unable to communicate what you want to have happen to you financially. Say you've had a stroke and again, you can't take care of yourself. Is someone there in the wings already named by you to come forward and say, I've got her back. I know what needs to happen. I'm going to pay those bills. That's what you do when you take care of yourself first. Those are the first two documents you work with an attorney on. It's your health power and your durable power of attorney. Then you think, okay, I've got myself okay. My next step is who I want to take care of. Who in my family can I help? Or who's been a great friend to me that I want to make sure that I take care of it. Now, how do you take care of somebody? You look at your assets and you say, what assets do I have that when I die, hopefully I still have some, I will pass on? And you make a list of those. And by that I mean, you may have a home, you may have cars, you may have property somewhere else. You may have stock, you may have investment accounts, you may have IRAs, you may have paid up insurance, all those things, make a list. And then ask yourself, who is inheriting these? Because did you know that you probably, when you set up your stock accounts or your IRA, somebody asked you at one time, do you have a beneficiary that you want for these? So I know in our case, my beneficiary is Andy, and I'm his beneficiary, but then there's a contingent beneficiary. And that's where you want to make sure, perhaps that you have named that new grandchild or whatever you want to do, or perhaps, if you want to, you've included a charity. If you are thinking that you want to include a charity, this is the place to do it. In an IRA or a paid-up insurance policy you don't need, because if you just let them pass in your will, the people that they pass to will be paying taxes on them as income tax. Charity won't, just go straight to the charity and makes a difference. You can divide things up so that charities, maybe you have 3 or 4 charities you want to help. You can do it all there. So, but the first thing you need to do is make a list of your assets. And if you don't know, if you said, oh, I want this to go to Sandy, or Marge, I'm gonna give this to Marge. If I haven't done that, call your broker and see if there's a form you're supposed to fill out. Then, let's call an attorney to help you put all of what you've thought out and made a list about into a final legal form. They make that thing. And then the last thing you do, after you've gotten all that in order, you make an in case of emergency file. I don't know if anybody in here has had to ever face an emergency that you weren't prepared for. Perhaps your mother or a father or something. My mother had a heart attack when she was 55, and Andy and I, the only reason she was alive was Andy and I happened to be home that weekend for visiting. I had no idea where anything was that we needed to have. Didn't know who her insurance was, didn't know any of the medicines that she was taking, and you go to the hospital and they're asking you all these things, and you're going, damn it, I know. Well, what you do know is if all you have to do, if you love someone, if you make an in case of emergency file, and you say, hey, here's the will, here's this, but more importantly, this is my medical information, here's the insurance. If you have spent some time since we've talked about life and what we want people to remember us, if you thought about your service, put some notes there. Andy and I have always thought we'd like to be cremated and we wanted to give our bodies to science. We just found out, because we were doing this, that Wake Forest Medical School is glad to take you. And all you do is download the forms, put it right in the file, there you go. It's taken, it's not one less thing your family has to deal with. We looked at things in our house and we thought, kids can sell anything they want. But are there some things that we hope maybe they would hold on to? And we labeled them in this letter because they might not know. This was your great-grandmother's china. This was so-and-so. Take this ring, and if your daughter gets engaged, see if she wants the stone. So, anyway, after you do it, it's amazing to me how light we both felt. It was like, damn, that wasn't that hard. And it was good, So, take this, it gives you your steps. If you have any questions, holler at Sue or Ray or me, glad to help. And think about it. And if, as you're thinking about charities you might want to help, if UFM is in there, please let us know and we'll be happy to help you, because it would be a great thing for this fellowship to have more people help it through their wills. It doesn't take anything about what size it is or what your annual gift is. It's totally separate. So anyway, those are my thoughts. And now we're going to start.
Good job, Jim.
shared with the fellowship, and to those at home that may have made a gift online, we appreciate it. It takes all of us to run a church and to make sure that the resources are there as we need them. Now we're going to look at announcements real quick. Okay. Social suppers.
We're gonna go to Crafty Burger and Cornelius, right over the bridge.
Okay. Amy and I have bet on where we're going. I win. And what about Women Tuesday?
Oh, it's in the thing, whatever. Oh, we're gonna see Tuscany or something.
Okay.
A nice hunk guy is in it.
Oh, excellent.
Oh.
Okay.
Beautiful men.
That's right.
Really not members of the fellowship, but it's possible.
Nice.
All right. Heart of the Carolinas, any thing we need to know? I see that the next, on April 25th, we're building dog houses, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, wonderful. Feed and See, our next date there is May 8th.
That's a Friday, so it's May 7th.
It is Thursday.
It's probably not May 7th, it's probably May 14th, because we usually do the second.
It is the second, yeah.
That's
So
right.
that, oh, you're right.
Okay, so if you
Yeah,
have
that's right.
whipped out your calendar to put that down on it, is gonna be May 14th. Thank you for catching that. Okay, Friday Action Hour coming up every Friday. You can join online at 11 o'clock. And any other announcements that we need to be aware of? Yes, Doug?
Yo, we have 27 days until the auction. That means you have 2 weeks to get the stuff in yet. We need the stuff, okay? And the auction this year is peace, love, and big. It's a hippie thing. So if you want to come dressed as age-appropriate hippie, please do. We'll have fun.
Age appropriate?
Age appropriate.
Age appropriate.
Well, you may still have stuff left from the 60s and 70s. like we do, but we come on anyway. So we only have 2 weeks to get all the stuff in so we can get the catalog ready to hand out the week before the event. So contact Pat, I'm just the face. Contact Pat, she's the worker. So let's do this thing. All right?
Excellent.
Oh, food lady, right here.
It's gonna be a picnic at the Bid Inn. So, there's a sign-up sheet out front, it's gonna be, whatever food you might bring to a picnic. Just list them and we'll know what we are expecting. You don't have to think back to the 60s and bring mushrooms and something. But, bring whatever might be, would be very picnic. And the sign-up sheet is out front.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And it's
Boone's Farm.
And the auction is May 9th.
That's correct.
Okay, please put it down on your calendar. And do people need to let you know in advance that they're coming?
We'll have sign up
We,
the week before.
well,
We'll be here.
we'll be here the week before. Yeah, so if you are coming and you want to tell me now, I can sign you up for a pad. Because the more I can get into the computer ahead of time, it's true. I'm just.
Okay, we're gonna do our closing hymn, and it's hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Through the dark night, if you cannot speaking for thousands, you can live from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. God will guide us, peace is guide us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through our love.
Our closing words come from Andrew Young, who is now 94 years old. He served as Jimmy Carter's delegate to the United Nations. He served as mayor of Atlanta. He served in Congress. A great, great man, and someone I would encourage you to read about and learn more about. But the reason I'm quoting Andrew Young is because he gave us evidence that the least among us can be winners. At Jimmy Carter's funeral, he said, "I am still amazed that a peanut farmer from Plains, Georgia, could become president of the United States." And Willie Mays often told the New York Yankees, "Fellas, you gotta believe." And they did believe. They believed over and over again as they won several World Series during the early 60s. They believed they were enough.
Good job.
Okay, we close our day by extinguishing the chalice and saying these words in your order of service. We
Extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, or with the community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
our service. Thank you, everyone.
So I noticed too, I didn't see any like